All right, so very good evening to all of you, and thank you very much for joining us on Joint Caucus. It feels good to bring you Joint Caucus again. And so there are a lot of issues happening in the country. Of course, the campaign is heated up. And so you've seen the president and the vice president crisscrossing the country. You've seen the NDC's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, and his running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, also going around the country, telling Ghanaians the reasons why they believe that they have to be voted for as president and vice president, and also the president and his current vice president telling Ghanaians why they have to be re-elected. Just last night, you saw the minority party debate organized by Imani Africa and the multimedia group. And I'm sure that you're certainly making decisions when it comes to election 2020. But even as we make decisions concerning election 2020, one of the things many of you have been talking about is how safe you feel as we get into election 2020. You've asked the question, what is the state of security in this country? Do we feel safe or we do not feel safe? That's a question we'll be finding answers to tonight on Joint Caucus. Last Friday, we woke up to the news, sad news, of the Member of Parliament for the Mfantsman constituency, Eko Kwanza Hayford, being shot. Well, we're told he was shot by robbers. Others believe that it was contract killing. For us here, the question is Ghana safe? Do you feel safe? And what do the political parties promises in their 2020 manifesto? And how do they intend to achieve all of these? But also of importance to many of you is a decision by Parliament or the decision by the Interior Minister to have members of Parliament giving police protection. You've raised questions, you've asked yourself, don't we deserve protection too? Should MPs only be giving protection? The MPs have said, you do not love us, you voted for us, and so you should seek our interest, not always chastise us. And many of you have asked the question, so a lecturer at the University of Ghana, Professor Bene, was killed. Does that mean that lecturers should be giving police guards? Well, this evening, we'll find answers to all of these on Joint Caucus. And you know that on Joint Caucus, we bring the NDC and NPP representatives. So we have a joint conversation, if I could put it that way. And tonight, we're fortunate to be joined by the Vice Chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament, representing the NPP. He's also the Member of Parliament for the Menchia North constituency. That's Collins Amankwah. We'll be joined shortly by the Member of Parliament for Tamale North, representing the NDC, Al-Hassan Suhunyini. But that will be after this short break. Stay with us. This is Joint Caucus. My name is Winston Amankwah. When we return, we get into the conversation. All right, so welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us. This is Joint Caucus on the Joy News channel with me, Winston Amankwah. And we're starting the conversation with Member of Parliament for Menchia North. And he's also the Vice Chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament and the Chairman of the Government Assurances Committee. He holds lots of portfolios. Collins Amankwah, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, Winston.
I hope you're doing very well.
I'm doing great, and many thanks for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to your platform.
You feel safe?
Ghana is safe. We are safe. And we are in safe hand.
So why do you need police protection then?
Well, I think when it comes to issue of security, everybody has his own view of what security is. So it's a very individual issue.
Do you support MPs being given police protection?
Why not? Why not? Because we are calling for equitable. We are calling for equitable political system. That what is good for goose is equally good for the gander.
Do you need it?
We all need protection.
Then we're not safe, are we?
We are safe.
We're safe.
Yes, I believe in the security
and specialized protection.
What do you mean by specialized protection?
Because you're asking us to give you police protection, a police bodyguard, one that would protect you currently, and in 2-3 months, we're giving you additional 2 in your homes, one during the day, another at night. Isn't that an indication that for you as members of Parliament, you feel unsafe.
Does it mean that once the executive arm of government are protected and the judiciary are protected, we feel safe? But when it comes to members of parliament, that they should also be protected by state security, we are not safe. Is that the logic? Is that the logic?
The logic is that currently members of parliament are not being protected, at least at your level. So the moment you call for it, then you're calling for it because of recent happenings, which for you makes you, unsafe.
Well, I beg to differ. We are not calling. I think it's the situation we find ourselves. And this is not the first time. What is that
situation you find ourselves?
No, but we all know. Mm-hmm. And for me, this is not the first time, we've witnessed a slain member of parliament in this country. The situation has called for that people, and to be honest with you, majority of Ghanaians are now craving that, please protect our MPs like you're doing for the judiciary and the executives.
Majority of Ghanaians?
Of course, because wherever you go, now they feel that once the MP represent them, then it is only fair that he or she is protected for their own collective good.
Wherever I go, I hear a lot of Ghanaians say that, why aren't our MPs talking about total protection for the whole country? Why are they saying that they should be giving, police bodyguards? Why are they not thinking about us? That's what I hear people say.
Are you saying you are not talking about total protection for security for all projects? MPs are not adding their voice. We are enacting laws to strengthen our security in this country, and you are telling me that the MPs are not playing any role to that effect? I think we are being unfair and insincere to members of parliament.
How have we been unfair to members of parliament?
Based on your narrative.
Based on what Ghanaians say.
Based on what you are saying.
Yeah, because
from what I say it.
Because when I speak
because
to Ghanaians,
I know that a lot of people are also saying that MPs must be protected. Yes, I know. From my constituents.
In Menchia North, they tell you must be protected.
Yes. That the seat must be protected.
Before you protect them.
No, not that. You see, and I understand where you are coming from. You are looking at the numbers vis-a-vis police-civilian ratio, of course, per the internationally, accepted standards. One police is supposed to govern 500 civilians. That is the police population ratio. However, when it comes to this country, the number as we speak, one police is policing over 800 civilians, of which I think the current president, who is also the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, has remained committed to make sure that we bridge the gap in terms of the ratio. So that was the reason why the state was able to recruit 4,000 personnel at a go. We were taking them batches just to bridge the gap. So as we speak, the number is not 1:to over 800, as it used to be under the previous NDC administration. 1:to 785, if my memory serves me right. So clearly, we are trying to close the gap. And for me, people feel that deploying additional 200 to protect members of parliament must call for some kind of agitation. I think we want the best. We want the best. So as we've done for the first arm of government and also the term arm of government, it is only fair that we do same for the second arm of government.
So it's more like it has been done for the executive. It's been done for the judiciary. Yes. Why not members of parliament? Is that the case?
Well, that could be the case.
Is that the case?
Well, if you think so, that's the case.
No, you say, why is it not being done for members?
No, that's what I'm saying, that if They say he who seeks for equity must do equity. Yes, so if members of parliament will go to parliament to legislate laws to empower the system to extend that ministers, deputy ministers, even DCs, MCEs should be protected, should be given police protection with police bodyguards. Then again, the judiciary, our judges are being protected. And so, why the second arm of government?
When you hear cases of murder, when you hear recent cases of robbery, as vice chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament, with oversight responsibility over the Ministry of Interior, how does it feel, and what have you done hearing all these?
Well, I think when it comes to incidents of violence, robbery, it's something that has been part of us, I mean, over the years, because you can't have a crime-free community. Mind you, as long as we live in community or society, there are deviants or miscreants. There are criminals. They operate. But we need to map strategy of curtailing their activities. And I want to tell you that when it comes to security, many a time, a lot of people don't appreciate or do not even understand what security entails. We have the form aspect of security and also the intelligence aspect of security. Okay. So if you look at the form, the major question you should ask yourself whether the government is trying everything possible to empower, to provide logistical support to security agencies to be able to make them more efficient in terms of delivery. And if the government has shown some level of commitment, then it tells you that nobody can sit back to say that we are joking with the security of the people.
I'll get back to you, but let me say good evening to the Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Honorable Hassan Suhunyini. Good evening.
Good evening,
and thank you very much for joining us. You feel safe?
Well, that's a very tough question to answer. Let me say good evening to you, good evening to our cherished viewers, especially the very good people of the Tamale North constituency, and good evening to my colleague Collins. And to say one feels safe will be insensitive, first of all, to the majority of Ghanaians who do not feel safe. I recognize the privileged position that I find myself in by virtue of the grace of God and the magnanimity of the good people of Tamale North. And so there's a need for one to always be reminded about the plight of the people who give us the privileges that we enjoy. I personally have been very indifferent as far as the discussion of whether to provide personal security for MPs is concerned or not. I've been indifferent. One, because I tend to believe more in personal security and also the protection of God. And I also do not think that it is sensitive enough to ignore the security threats that the general populace are faced with and focus on, more privileges, if you like, for the privileged few. But I also have been listening to the debate to make up my mind on where to stand. And I think what is missing is that we tend to be listening to respond to each other and not to understand the concerns that each is espousing. Otherwise, you would have heard, like I am hearing, that we are all saying the same things. We want improved security for all of us, not just for the privileged few. We want improved security for the country. And it is the responsibility of state actors, as especially espoused in Chapter 8 of the 1992 Constitution. The President and his appointees to guarantee the safety of this country. Now, if we all are beginning to feel insecure, the question to ask is whether or not our leadership have lived up to expectation.
Have they?
I'm sure if they did, we wouldn't be having this discussion that we are having.
So they haven't.
So definitely there is more work to be done. Now, people have every right to be concerned about their security, especially when you look at the increased spate of armed robberies and unexplained murders in our country of late. People are genuinely frustrated and concerned. But the question I ask myself is, the executive, headed by the president, is supposed, as enshrined in the Constitution, to guarantee our safety. If they have failed, why do we tolerate them having the level of security they have around them? Why? Why do we...
You don't want them to have the level of security they have?
You see, when I hear the argument about why MPs do not deserve security, I wonder why we tolerate our executive. And I'm not just referring to the president. I wonder why we tolerate our executive, who are mandated by the Constitution to guarantee our security, to have that level of security around them, even as we live in insecurity conditions. Why do we tolerate that? I personally think our presidents have had excess security around them. Personally, I think the security around our presidents have been sometimes in excess. In fact, we even have security for chairs that travel around.
Why is the security in excess? Why do you think we have too much security for them?
That's just a personal hunch. I mean,
yes, I'm asking personally, why do you think so?
We do not have any history of people attacking our president since independence. We don't have that history. So sometimes...
Kwame Nkrumah, had an attempted assassination on his life.
Well, that was Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Ever since, have you ever heard of any president, coming under any sort of attack, even as they interact and move around this country? So personally, it's a personal view. You can disagree with me. I don't have to convince you. It's a personal view that I think that there's excess security around our president. But I'm saying that as a people, even in our insecurity, we tolerate the security around the man who should make us secure. We tolerate that. We tolerate the fact that he can nominate someone to become a minister and provide that person with security. We tolerate that. So he makes someone a minister, the person gets personal security. We don't have a problem with that, even as we live in our insecurity. We tolerate the fact that he appoints a DCE, and the DCE has a police officer. We tolerate that. Even as we live in our insecurity, we tolerate the president's nominees having personal security. So even as a member of parliament, if my friend here is fortunate to be nominated by the president to become a minister today, we will tolerate the fact that he will have security, even as we live in our insecurity. We do not demand of him and the president to guarantee our security before they get the security they are giving themselves. I'm saying, as I listen to the discussion, these are the things that run through my mind. Why do we tolerate the executive, even as we live in our insecurity, to provide so much security for themselves? Why? Why do we tolerate that?
What can we do?
Because clearly we cannot tolerate the fact that MPs should have security. And I'm saying it is understandable for us not to tolerate that, because we are living in insecurity, all of us as people. So I can understand why we do not tolerate or cannot stand the thought of us concentrating security for just MPs. But I'm saying, in the same breath, why then do we tolerate the man who is responsible for our security according to the Constitution, when he has so much security around him, to the point that even when he nominates somebody from among us and gives that person security, we tolerate that?
You think we shouldn't tolerate that?
I think that if we listen to each other more, we will get to a solution that will serve all of us better.
And what is that solution?
I'm saying if we listen to each other, we will arrive at a solution. If I had the solution, I wouldn't have recommended that we listen to each other. I'm saying if we listen to each other more, I am sure we will arrive at a solution that will serve each of us well. Either we tolerate the extension of security to people in privileged classes, or we demand better of the people in privileged classes to make our country secure enough for all of us not to need personal security.
Okay. I'll get back to you. Let me get to you, Robert Collins.
Weston, very interesting comment from
your colleague says
from
it would be insensitive to say he's safe, looking at all that is happening and how people are feeling. You say you're safe. Ghana is safe.
Yes, but I think it's very no. It's emphasis on tolerance, and the same way Ghanaians tolerated excess protection of the executive, especially the former president when he was in charge. The same way Ghanaians would tolerate security for our first gentleman of the land. I'm not interested in politics of equalization, but from the way he made the submission.
You have started because I talked about presidents. Security around presidents, we tolerate it. Security around the executive.
To remind ourselves.
I'm not talking about MPP, NDC, Muhammad.
Okay, let him continue.
And I think when it comes to security issues, we should be able to do away with populism. You know, we were in this country that a Home Minister's bodyguard was grabbed because of his involvement in robbery. That was former Minister of Tourism, Zita Okakwe's bodyguard, personal bodyguard, one Richard, was arrested in highway robbery, Accra, Aflao. We're in this country when the whole DC, in Kwanta DC, was killed, cold-blooded, in this country, under your watch. We did not describe the situation as out of hand, as a state of insecurity. We were in this country that a whole minister responsible for interior justifying the action of Azoka boys. That was in 2015.
Now you're doing
that violence begets violence.
Ghanaians
tolerated. No. You see.
What are we discussing?
I'm making a point.
Hold on.
Honestly, what are we discussing?
No. I'm making a point. You see,
hold on. I'm the moderator here.
Very well.
If you'd allow me.
Very well.
Now, in discussing the state of security in this country, you, as Vice Chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee, have oversight responsibility over the executive that performs that function. I have asked you how you feel, and you say you feel safe. Now, we're going back to bring instances of events to support the fact that
reminding my good brother.
Happened, so I think because it happened in the past.
No.
If it's happening now, it should be normal. Yes.
What I'm saying is the fact that there has been one or two or three incidences of violence or robbery cannot be used as a yardstick to say that we are in the state of insecurity. That is far from that. That is far from that. Then it means we don't understand concept of security. In any case, security by its nature is an intangible, is an invisible. I mean something that you cannot see, except to look at the form aspect of security. And people must begin to appreciate that. That from where I sit, I believe in the security architecture of this country. Looking at high collaboration between or among the security agencies of this country, it tells you that we are on top of issue, except to say that somebody has been killed. So what do we do? And as we speak, when the president ordered the IGP to make sure that the perpetrators behind heinous crime against our late colleague and the MP from Fansiman should be arrested. Today, they've been arrested. Unlike what happened under the previous administration, a member of parliament was in his house. somebody went there to take his life. And as we speak,
people are facing trial.
They will say the matter is still under investigation before competent court of jurisdiction. I understand, but I'm trying to trying to avert our minds to what transpired and what we are witnessing now. Okay. Because they say they are all members of parliament.
We need to go for our next break. When we come back, we'll continue. We'll also look at the response in all of this. And that's one of the things I want us to focus on. Following these murders or robberies, what is the assessment of the response? Do we have that assurance? The minority in parliament made a reference to the committee of the whole meeting that, or the closed meeting, that they needed Ghanaians, journalists to be there to have the assurance from the Interior Ministry. Do we have that assurance? We'll get into that conversation after this break. All right, so welcome back from that short break, and thank you very much for staying with us. This is Joint Caucus on the Joy News channel. I'm Winston Amankwah, and joining me this evening to my right is Member of Parliament for Menchia North and Vice Chairman of the Defence and Interior Committee in Parliament, Collins Amankwah, and to my left, Member of Parliament for Tamale North, representing the NDC, Hassan Suhunyini. So let me get back to you, and you've heard from your colleague. He's giving some, antecedents, but let's look at the response so far to the challenge that we've had. The Interior Minister was in Parliament. You were there in the Committee of the Whole on the closed session. Were you satisfied with the assurances he gave you concerning the general security?
Well, I won't say I was satisfied. It was good listening to him and also reassuring,
But what did he actually tell you?
Well, I think he briefed the media afterwards, and I think he categorically stated some of the issues that he raised with members of Parliament when he met with us, with the media. And so it is out there, and that is what is being discussed, and perhaps that's the reason why we are having this discussion. But if it's the issue of insecurity, my brother simply cautioned that we should not go in a certain direction whilst he was headed in that same direction. At the time that he was cautioning, he was heading in that same direction. I think that I agree with him that issues of security should not be politicized beyond a discussion of how better the citizens can be protected. It shouldn't be politicized beyond that, because politics is about alternatives. It's about choices. It's about, serving the people well. And serving the people includes giving them or guaranteeing their security. And so if that discussion is not to assure the people of a better way of dealing with their security, then it is of no use. And that is why I find his caution, reasonable. That, look, let's not politicize or make the issues of insecurity partisan in our discussion, so to reduce it to pedestrian talks. Let's focus on how well a government is delivering the security or not, or how well an alternative offers to do it or not. Because that is what will inform the choices of the people. Look, democracy is meaningless if the people cannot be guaranteed security and safety. Because the authority of even the democratic government comes from the security and the authority. The authority comes from the security that it guarantees in the country. And the biggest, for me, natural resource we have as a country is peace. Talk to all the foreign investors who have decided to choose Ghana as their destination to invest. And they will tell you one overriding consideration was the fact that over the years, we have remained an oasis of peace in the West African sub-region. And that is why we should never jeopardize with that you know, selling point that we have as a country. It is clear to everyone today that crime is on the ascendancy. It is not about party A or party B. The armed robbery cases have increased. In fact, according to the police records in 2019, between January and June, over 900 cases of armed robbery had been reported. Just armed robbery alone. Over 900 cases of armed robbery cases had been reported. That is those which had been reported. These armed robberies, in some cases, included killings and rapes. Now, every now and then, you tune into the radio, you walk into the communities, and you are faced with one crime or the other. In some cases, unexplained murders. We still are unable to understand how Ahmed Swale, for example, was killed. We can't understand how the Ghana Water Company engineer, Joe, was killed. We can't understand how the harbor, I think Ghana Ports and Harbor, so many of them, we can't understand.
Your colleague says you're doing the same thing you accused him of doing.
No, you see, we're talking about the level of insecurity. And I think any discussion that points to what happened in the past, which may have been bad, is backward. It's very backward and self-serving. Because if things happened in the past and we are living today and hoping for a better tomorrow, and the discussion is not about how we can make the today better, then what use, what use will this discussion serve? So we live in times where it is probably clear that insecurity is high. I'm not saying it. We all feel it in our communities. The security experts are saying it. And you know what is ironic? Is the fact that we have a government in place. And remember, I told you that the authority of a government in a democratic state stems from the security that it provides. And that is why even the Constitution mandates the commander-in-chief to be the chairman of the National Security Council with his vice president. And so if we are living in times that we can say we are not safe, we need to be getting answers and assurances from the people who are mandated to make us safe. That should be the discussion. The discussion should not be reduced to what happened in the past. If we were not safe then, we are not still safe.
Okay.
What are we doing to be safe?
I'll get back to you.
What are the people in charge doing to guarantee our safety, especially when they have put in place the biggest security architecture this country has ever had in the Fourth Republic? Over 11 appointees by the president to be responsible for security, drawing taxpayers' money and all the largesse that come with it. The biggest ever. And when the president was challenged about the numbers of appointees, he said it was for our good. Are we deriving that good?
I'll get back.
Shouldn't we be asking questions?
I will get back to you on this because we need to also look at what could be done differently and what you are promising. Yes, Honorable Amankwah. So he's talked about the need to focus on the now and how we solve it.
Yes, Weston.
What is your party promising to do?
What we are doing, I think we are focused as government, and the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces is also focused as far as the welfare of even our security officers are concerned. Mind you that under the previous administration, there was high level of, crimes and also lawlessness, and then again high incidence of violence, and I recounted some of them. My brother wanted to challenge, but it seems he was quiet on his own history. As I'm saying that we are focused, we came into office having checked the records. We realized that Ghana Police Service, which is the main law enforcement agency, police was having less than 500 serviceable vehicles as at 2017. But I can confidently say that within this shortest possible time, within 3.5 years, we've been able to deliver or deploy over 1,000 serviceable vehicles to Ghana Police Service alone, apart from procurement of 3 helicopters. And it tells you that the government is poised to make sure that we ensure public safety. And then again, the other agencies, which are also playing, very critical role to our survival as citizens, as far as security is concerned. If you look at Ghana Immigration Service, for instance, under the NDC, they were not armed. And there were at times when they were overpowered by unnamed persons. As we speak, we have empowered them, and now they are armed. We have supplied them with thousands of rifles, just to make sure that the police our land borders very well. Not only that, if you look at Ghana Armed Forces, which is in charge of our external security affairs, we've been able to provide them with the needed accommodation. Apart from that, we've been able to procure modern armored vehicles, and for the first time, even it took President Akufo-Addo to supply them with 4x4 armored vehicles. And as we speak, we've secured loan to get them 10 units of 8x8 armored vehicles. And it will surprise you, Winston, that when we were doing that, NBC came out. That why are we at war? Why are we supplying Ghana Armed Forces with such, huge equipment, including modern armored vehicles? Forgetting that, if you look at our neighbors, of course, unless you don't want to tell the truth, there are, marital boundary disputes between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, and also Ghana and Togo.
But so Cote d'Ivoire, this has been settled. It lost us rule on it.
We've not finalized the issue unless you are not following the matter keenly. And I know what I'm saying. From where I sit, I know that we are not done with the settlement. I know what I'm saying. As we speak, the issue is still lingering. But to continue with what I'm saying, Winston, not only that, at least we've been able to provide logistical support to our respective security agencies. So we have done what even Napoleon couldn't do, because the kind of system we inherited was so porous to extend, and that was the reason why we assured Ghanaians of securing them peace and security for all. Check our manifesto 2016 and check NDC manifesto.
So these are the things you've done. Going forward, what will you do?
Going forward, we are trying to strengthen our intelligence network, because we have the form aspect and also the intelligence aspect. The intelligence aspect, when it comes to intelligence gathering, you are dealing with data. First of all, it's a process. You need to collect your data, you analyze, you evaluate, you disseminate, you try to we have secured information. Not every information must get out there. And for me, we are doing everything possible to strengthen national security network so that they will continue to be more robust, efficient, and also proactive in terms of curbing crime and providing security for our people. And that is what we are doing as a state.
Okay. Let me get back to the Honorable Suhunyini. So,
Winston, I was talking about the, high number of appointees who are supposed to be responsible for our security and how that has failed us. You have the Minister of Interior, the Deputy Minister of Interior.
Why didn't you have Minister
of National Security?
If you allow him.
That's 3. 4, Deputy Minister of National Security. 5, Minister of Defense. 6, Deputy Minister of Defense. 7, Minister in charge of National Security at the Presidency. 8, National Security Advisor to the President. 9, National Security, Council Chair. Then 10, National Security Coordinator. Look at all the amorphous, appointments.
But National Security Coordinator is not a ministerial appointment.
I'm talking about architecture.
National Security Council.
Remember, I said the biggest architecture. I didn't say the biggest person.
It's a structure.
Architecture. So the architecture includes the people.
It's a structure.
Well, maybe you don't get me. But what I'm saying is
then it means you don't understand. You don't understand.
Let him finish.
I said this government has put in place the biggest national security architecture that is drawing a lot from the taxpayer. The biggest. So the architecture includes the appointments and even the new
so during your regime, there was no setup of National Security Council Secretariat.
I am saying in the presence of all of this, we are having to come here this evening to discuss the citizens' concern as far as our safety as a people is, in this country is concerned. And that for me is germane. That should tell this government that indeed it has failed in providing the security that it promised and, got supported to deliver. Because we tolerated the number of appointees when the president told us that it was meant to provide us with the security that was required. Today, we all do not feel safe. And that is why we are having this discussion. So, it is not just even about the crimes, the unexplained murders. It is also even about sometimes the tacit approval, so to speak, of government and government functionaries when these things happen.
Okay.
A clear example was in Ayawaso Wagon, and the commission report captured succinctly what happened in Ayawaso Wagon. The fact that it was a state-sponsored criminal operation. And
was it established in the report?
It was.
What you are saying?
Yes,
it's
it
not
was.
True.
It was established in
the report. There was nothing of that sort. I mean, why do you make such a wide allegation on television that state-sponsored?
Hold on.
No, but I want to call him to order.
Hold on. Yes. Ministers of state appeared before the commission and took responsibility for the things that happened there. Yes. What is state-sponsored?
Oh,
Ministers of state appeared before the commission and took responsibility for what happened. And the commission, in its wisdom, found those things that happened to be criminal. And so that is state-sponsored criminality. And worst of all, the recommendations of the commission hasn't been implemented. So why will I not describe what happened there as state-sponsored? Aside from that, you also have situations where people attack judiciary, a court, free their colleague, and by all, intents and purposes, they are given a slap on the wrist.
Okay.
And they come out to even gloat about how the system, the government, machinery, or appointees of the government, or members of the government, made it easy for them. So and thank them for making it easy for them to perpetuate those crimes. So we are saying that, look, it is also the posture of government and its functionaries that is making the insecurity dire. Definitely you will not have that kind of posturing from an NDC government led by President Mahama. Clearly, he's a peaceful man who believes in dialogue and who believes in inclusion and has served with integrity. So he's somebody whose body language will not even incite anybody to commit crime in his name. But we have seen the reverse. So, I mean, that alone is going to send a signal to anybody in an NDC government to live by the rules and ensure that crime is punished wherever it is detected.
Let me get to you. Yes, Honorable Collins Amankwah. You want to react to some of the things he said?
Well, I think what he said is much ado about nothing, except to beat about the bush. Because I'm surprised that you sit on this big platform to say that we have the biggest security architecture, even in terms of structure. So is he saying that under NDC, there was no National Security Council put in place? There was no National Security Coordinator that operating from office of the National Security Coordinator? There was office to that effect. So I'm surprised. That's what I'm saying, that whatever he's saying is just, I mean, doing propaganda. But I think we need to be serious because it's about the welfare of our people. It's about ensuring
to be serious.
Public safety. What are we doing? We as government, we are doing everything possible to empower our nation forces. We are doing everything possible to make sure that we maximize their welfare so that they will continue to operate in a sound mind. And talking about former President Mahama, I mean, he's on record, including their party chief's cry, Mr. Siedun Ketia. Always out there trying to cause, trying to create a sense of tension in the country. And I think this is the NDC own creature. They are doing everything possible to create this sense of insecurity.
Okay.
But I don't want to believe that what they are doing is the reality. The reality is that Ghana is safe. And if you look at the
reality?
The Global Peace Index survey, it tells you that Ghana is the most peaceful country within the sub-region. Africa, third, even world. Ghana comes before a country like United States of America and also UK. And this has boosted, investors' confidence. People are investing in an economy, and it tells you that Ghana is in safe hand.
We have to go. 30 seconds on Suhunyini. Finally, our time is up. We have to go.
Well, I think that it is important we understand that the issues of security is not about NPP, NDC. It's about
you are
safety.
Telling us this.
It's about the safety of this country and the responsibility of the government of the day to guarantee that safety. And if they are failing at doing that, it is only patriotic that we remind them of their duty to serve us right.
Thank you very much, Honorable Hassan Suhunyini. Thank you very much, Collins Amankwah. And that'll be all from us tonight on Joint Caucus with me, Winston Amwa. Up next is the Joint News Prime. Keep watching the Joint News channel. Have a lovely weekend.